The issue starts with Nick Fury visiting a woman, Danny, and her 2 children at a farm in Iowa. He's there to investigate Skrull activity and is led by Danny upstairs to where her husband is. Yesterday, he suddenly died. Isn't that just spectacular news? The next panel shows Danny and her children surrounding the deathbed and looking on at Nick Fury with smiles so creepy they would make the Joker shudder. The comic then shifts to the present day with Nick Fury making a visit to the CIA headquarters. He takes his time to mess about with the new hire at the reception. When he's done, he tells him he's there to meet Maria Hill. We are then taken back to the farm at Iowa again, where Fury rightly questions Danny if she loved her husband. "But you're glad he's dead?" "Yeah, I'm glad he's dead." Fury looks on in confusion and asks her to begin connecting the dots for him. Danny then tells him that the body does not belong to her husband, but a Skrull, which means her husband is still alive. One of the kids, a girl, pleads to Nick to help them find her dad. In Maria Hill's office, the two exchange pleasantries and Maria proceeds to make fun of Nick's badge, which reads his whole name, Nicholas Fury. I don't know why, but that makes me uncomfortable as well. By the looks of things, Maria has now taken charge of the CIA, and Nick has gone freelance. He then begins to tell her about the Skrull sighting in Iowa. Back at the farm, Nick asks Danny to step outside with him. He then reveals to her that her dead husband wasn't a Skrull. However, she continues to make the same claim, saying that the husband forgot their wedding anniversary. He also had no idea what to do with the kids. To top it all off, he ended things with her just the night before his death. Nick explains that Danny had decided to cope with grief by avoiding it entirely. Thinking her husband was a Skrull, she held on to the hope that her husband was still alive, somewhere on the planet, and he wasn't going to be the one to destroy it. He tells the widow that he'll look into the matter. "You old softy," exclaims Maria. "I'm just full of surprises." Nick continues that once he decided to entertain Danny's claim, she invited him inside for dinner. Maybe one day she'll read that Skrulls revert to their natural form after death. But if believing in aliens could help Danny and her children deal with the loss of their father, then who's Nick Fury to stop them? This is where things get a little spicy. In the real version of the events, Nick looks at an old portrait of the family and realizes that Danny and her 2 children are dressed the same. This leads him to conclude they are Skrulls. He's immediately attacked by the kids but manages to knock them out. As he hurriedly reaches for his gun, Danny just decides to straight up bite the guy, making him drop it. One of the kids then picks it up. "That wasn't very nice, Mr. Fury." Nick retreats behind some cover and activates his watch to alert backup. "They're Skrulls! They're all Skrulls!" Unfortunately for him, the area is shielded by the Skrulls, meaning all communication's off. Realizing he'll have to take them on all alone, Nick takes another gun out of his pocket and decides to head into the belly of the beast. However, the Skrulls have seemingly vanished from the dining room. What the hell? Simply camouflaged into one of the walls, the Skrull attacks Nick Fury from behind, pinning him down. It was the clothes, wasn't it? All of us matching it so perfectly. Danny reveals that they killed the family to take their place, but she wants Nick Fury alive for her plans. Remember how I said in the real version of the events? Well, that's because this isn't what Nick tells Maria at all. He tells her that he had a wholesome meal, shook Danny's hand, and that was that. After hearing his version of the story, Maria asks Nick how he feels about the whole thing. "Fine." "No, Nick, seriously, just between you and me, how do you feel?" "Fine." After hearing it for a second time, Maria presses a button and a bunch of agents take Fury into custody. Apparently, Maria and Nick had a call and response challenge for whenever there was a doubt that one of them was a Skrull, something Nick just failed. The fake Nick tells Maria he'd just forgotten, but Maria retorts back with a "Nick Fury doesn't forget." She then tells the Skrull that their little secret invasion just failed, and they should have come up with a better, less obvious plan rather than trying to take over the corridors of power. In lockup, fake Nick tells Maria he's willing to do whatever to show him he's the real deal, but she's not having it. She then tells him that she's to put out an alert for every one of her colleagues in other important agencies, who are no doubt being approached by the clones of Nick as well. What follows are a few panels of some Nick clones trying and failing to infiltrate FBI, NSA, Department of Homeland Security, National Reconnaissance, and the Pentagon. Back in lockup, fake Nick finally reveals himself as the female Skrull that duped Fury back in Iowa. She tells Maria that she'll never know if she got them all, but Maria tells her if her plan is to create mass hysteria and distrust, she's lost because they came prepared. Maria then calls the Avengers, who are in the midst of a training exercise. She tells them about how Nick Fury was cloned and there's a possibility there are more imposters. Black Panther suggests that any of the Avengers could be a Skrull as well. However, Maria thinks it is unlikely. In the Avengers' bathroom, a Skrull looks into the mirror. Well, that wasn't the news I was hoping to hear today.